The label came first, then the story, and nobody noticed. There was no trial until there was a label. There was no victim until there was a category. There was no perpetrator until a word made room for one. Picture a quiet room, not a courtroom, not yet. Just a still frame, like a paused movie. A body, a moment, no meaning attached. No headlines, no outrage, no narrative. Just what is. Then someone walks in with a stamp. Not a weapon, not evidence, just a word. Homicide. And suddenly the room explodes into motion. Phones ring, sirens scream, families fracture. Attorneys sharpen arguments like knives. Prosecutors build timelines, defense builds doubt. A jury is assembled to decide what already feels decided. But notice something strange. All of this movement, all of this noise, did not exist 5 seconds earlier. The label didn't describe the world, it constructed it. Now rewind the same scene. Same room, same body, same moment. But this time the stamp says, natural. Watch what happens. No sirens, no trial, no villain to hunt, no story to defend. Just acceptance, paperwork, closure. Nothing about the event changed, only the label did. And the entire world rearranged itself accordingly. This is the part nobody questions. Not the evidence, not the timeline, not the motive, but the frame itself. Because once the frame is accepted, everything inside it becomes real enough. Real enough to argue. Real enough to punish. Real enough to grieve. It's like pouring concrete into a mold. Once it hardens, nobody remembers it was ever liquid. The past isn't being discovered, it's being assembled, piece by piece, word by word, until it feels solid. But feels solid isn't the same as true. It's just stable enough to move forward. And that's the quiet agreement nobody signs. We don't need the truth. We need something that works, something that holds, something that lets the system continue. Because without the label, there is no next step. No charges, no defense, no justice, no closure, no movement. The label is the ignition. Everything else is just the engine running. And here's the twist. The entire system depends on never questioning the ignition. Because if the label is unstable, then everything built on top of it is too. The courtroom, the verdict, the certainty, all resting on a word chosen after the fact. So the real question was never, what happened? The real question is, what happens to the entire system when the label itself is seen as the first move, not the final answer? There's a curious comfort in a label, a single word that promises to explain what cannot be undone, to organize what cannot be revisited, to settle what was never truly seen. And so the machinery turns, not because truth has been found, but because a name has been agreed upon. From that name, a world is born, with its villains, its victims, its certainty. A world convincing enough to move forward, even if it never actually moves back. But somewhere, just outside the noise of verdicts and voices, there remains a quiet, untouched moment. Before the stamp, before the story, before the need to decide. A moment that asks nothing, proves nothing, accuses no one. And if one were to linger there, just a second longer than usual, they might begin to wonder whether the truth was ever in the label at all, or if it was quietly waiting in the space before we needed one. A small observation from a place where meaning arrives after the moment and rarely leaves it unchanged.